said to them, Chris needs to apologize for what he did to me. Yes. We are still waiting for you to tell us what he did to you.
What was the reason?
I just camera one-on-one with to use an audience of millions of people.
Correct.
To make my husband look like a predator.
No,
and you are not. Shut up.
When you saw the footage, what did you think?
I was a little surprised because it did not align with Deborah's words, and Deborah has always been very truthful with me.
I was in my feelings on the way Candace was treating me.
And it was stupid because you embarrassed yourself.
Which is not fair. We're all here. When we're filming, everything we do should happen on camera.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn minute.
You're for lobster.
Yeah.
Just been physically assaulted, not once, but twice. If someone, anybody hits even dumbass me right now in the face, I would say, hold up, this is messed up.
What's up, y'all? It's Brian Keith, and I'm back with another video. Today, we're going to be looking at part 2 of the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion. And like I said before, Robin, Ashley, I'm going to be on y'all head top. Ashley, I'm going to be on your head top a lot just because they really skated by and they gave you some type of grace for reasons unknown. And I'm just going to have to say what I got to say, period. So y'all like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
Yeah, let me check my shit real quick. Hotter than the fire coming out my flame. And if you want to play with me, you can't play in me. On the playground, bitch, you can't play with me. Got it, wanted, securing the best shit.
All right, so basically the episode opens up. Mind you, I've recorded, this is my second time recording this, so if I look a little dry, I'm trying to give the same vigor that I had in the beginning, but maybe it was a reason for it. So here we go. Candace was basically unloading on Gisele.
Chris needs to apologize for what he did to me. Yes. We are still waiting for you to tell us what he did to you.
And like I said before, Giselle's trying to explain why she accused Chris of all these certain things, and it just made no sense.
Yes. What did he do to you, Gisele? Made me feel uncomfortable, is what I told you.
It's because at the end of the day, she's saying, you know, Chris made me feel uncomfortable. Okay, that's fine. We're not saying that's not valid, but how? How did he make you feel uncomfortable? You know, like, okay, did he do anything? What, like, it just, and you hear Ashley on the side trying to give, trying to over here help her girl out. Talking about, did he, like, was it like body language? Did he, and I'm like, Ashley, shut up. You're doing too much. Sit over there. But I'm just like, you know, he's like, is it the body language? It's like, what he make you feel uncomfortable? She keeps just like, well, he just made me feel uncomfortable. Okay. And that's what Candace is just like, girl, okay. And Giselle's trying to basically tell her, like, okay, give me some examples. Like, what did he, like, what are you trying to say? Like, you're saying all this stuff. Like, what are you trying to say? And then Candace giving her examples of how she's maligning her husband's name and his character, assassinating his character, to be honest. Giving an example of how she went to Karen, how she went to Robin, all these different things. And you hear Mia on the side interrupting, interjecting, giving her opinion when it wasn't warranted.
With to use an audience of millions of people.
Correct.
To make my husband look like a predator.
No,
and you are not. Shut up.
No,
and you are not.
And like Candace said, girl, you need to shut up because nobody's talking to you. Why are you interjecting in a situation that you have nothing to do with? And it's funny with Mia because you have all this rationale when it comes to Candace and Gisele, but when it came to Robin, yourself, and Wendy, well, you know, to my recollection or what I remember, I don't care about what you remember. I want to talk about facts. I want to talk about the video. I want to talk about what happened. Let's talk about that because you want to sit there and talk about my recollection. We're not talking about that. We're talking about facts. And to be honest, Mia, you stray away from the facts all the time, right? Then like I said before, I feel like Andy has been reading like the Twitter comments because he really had the girls on the hot seat. And I like the fact that, you know, when they say a response and it doesn't sound right, even to the viewer, it doesn't sound right, he's gonna be like, okay, well, you're saying this, but that's contradictory to what really happened. So, you know, and I like the fact that Andy is doing that. So the producers show what really happened between Chris and, you know, the Country Monster, Sesame Street, Deborah.
When Chris was allegedly flirting with your friend Deborah.
I like that pink.
Thank you. Deborah, Chris, nice to meet you. Pleasure.
So, you know, nothing really happened. Like we already been saw, and you know, Ashley's just like, well, you know, I asked her, and you know, it's just weird because like what she said is different from what the camera says, and like obviously, but then she's like, well, you know, my friend, she did say that, you know, the audio didn't match the mouths moving. I'm just like, girl, by irritating. So my whole thing is, did she bring up the whole Happy Eddie situation? Now, I feel like it was stupid and childish, but I do also feel like, you know, at the end of the day, when Deborah was telling her story, I mean, when people tell the stories or recalling certain events, they put a little zhuzh on it. They, hyping it up because it's a story, trying to make it entertaining because, but like Wendy said it perfectly. Like, so our husbands can't have a civil conversation, platonic conversation with one of y'all make it always that he wants y'all.
Unfortunately, the men within this group are unable to even communicate with other women in this group for fear.
So we also go on to Candace live, right? And like I said before, Candace, you got caught and you should have been very specific. You weren't specific, but I do agree that, Robin, if Robin had a problem, Robin should have went straight to Candace like, hey, this is my problem. I don't like this, that, and the third.
I was in my feelings on the way Candace was treating me.
You could have came to me and been like, bitch, you talking about my business?
But Robin didn't. She went and blasted you in front of all the girls with the whole audio. And I just thought it was funny because, like I said before, you weren't specific, and then it just caused confusion. So I just want Candace, next time, if you got something to say, which is fine, whatever, put a name on it. That's it. Put a name on it. Andy questions Candace. He's like, you said that Robin was, you were so shocked with Robin for doing that because she was the most loyal to you. But what about Wendy? And I'm happy that Wendy spoke her truth, and she was like, yeah, I felt some type of way about that because we were friends, and it's just weird that, Robin was the most loyal to you, but so your loyalist friend blasted you in front of all the girls and didn't even come to you, give you the grace to bring you aside.
Me, in front of the group, it was. And it was stupid because you embarrassed yourself. I wasn't embarrassed.
And like Candace said, she was just like, Robin, you look dumb and you look stupid and you embarrassed yourself. And Robin was just like, I was in my feelings, and it's just so crazy because I feel like when we're on camera, I'm gonna stop there because Robin, you have the gall to talk about when we're on camera.
I'm upset about stuff because it's done on camera, which is not fair. We're all here. When we're filming, everything we do should happen on camera.
Wait a damn minute.
Is your wig squeezing your brain too tight, heifer?
And I'm just like, I'm just taken aback because I'm just like, how dare you we need to talk about what's going on in our lives on camera. You don't. You keep it close to your chest, just like Gisele. So I'm like, how you're gonna ask? It's just a slap in the face for you to want to ask for someone to be open and honest when you're not open and honest. You want someone to give 100% when you're giving 20. Right. I said before with Wendy and Candace's friendship, I feel like their friendship is based off convenience, not off of a true like bond. I feel like they have a sisterhood, but I feel like it's more out of convenience than I feel like it's partially a real connection, but I feel like it's more off of convenience. I feel like they could be cool, but I feel like Candace has some type of tether to Robin and Gisele. I feel like Gisele will apologize in seasons to come, just like later in this season, Candace was over here cordial with Gisele, over here sitting kikiing with her, eating food at the strip club for a bachelorette party. And I'm looking at Candace like, okay, I'm questioning your motives because at first y'all was cool, y'all was but you over here calling her, all these names, but now you over here kikiing with her at the strip club, eating lobster and potatoes and steak and chicken. I mean, I guess. So Wendy, watch. After, they all went to lunch, and I'm not even gonna talk about it, but after the lunch, it's Gisele's segment, and it was just a complete eye roll. And we go watching Gisele's package, and Andy's been a little bit shady to Karen about, Karen did copy Gisele and Robin's recently shady podcast, and I think that she did. And Andy was like, yeah, you copied Gisele's podcast just like you copied Wendy's candles. So do you think like it's you? So I do agree with Karen that, the whole candle situation, she had the scent before, she was coming up with Lil Dom before. So I do agree with that, but I do feel like she did steal that podcast idea. It just came out of nowhere. No signs of it, but maybe. And she, Karen also threw shade at Robin, as she should. Then we get on Gisele's surgery, and it's basically 8.5 hours. And, you know, she didn't come home. Her children was like over here upset, scared, terrified. And she over here starts getting emotional and just start, you know, talking like, you know, my kids.
And I had to tell him, like, Mommy's going into surgery.
Right.
We'll talk about it later.
No, we're talking about it now.
And it's like, I want to feel for her. Like, when she first brought this up, I was like, oh, you know, I feel for her. But now I'm just like, how can I feel for somebody that didn't care about Mia? And we know Mia was lying. Cool, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna tell her that she's lying to her face. Like, oh girl, you lying. But y'all just was so uncouth, had no type of respect for this woman. Like, let's say Mia wasn't lying and she actually did, knock on wood, have cancer, right? And you over here saying that to that woman, talk about, oh, is this cancer or no cancer? Who says some shit? Who says stuff like that? You know? So I'm gonna give Gisele grace because that's just the type of person I am. But I mean, for Candace to really throw it at Gisele, I'm not gonna be mad at that at all.
You spent the night.
I had to spend the night. My bladder was compromised. I had a catheter, all that. It was bad. So I didn't come home.
And like I said, she started getting emotional, and she tells Andy, because Andy's pressing the question, she's like, we could talk about it later. He's like, no, we could talk about it now. like when she was like, we could talk about it later, I'm just like, girl, why are you on a TV show about your life then? If you don't want to talk about it on camera, then why are you on a TV show about your life? Why? And then we find out she has a sister. I was like, who is this woman? I didn't know this woman had siblings. She over here keeps stuff too close to chest because she always make a topic of conversation about somebody else's husband or somebody else's life. She went off on Ray taxes. She's saying that Monique cheated on her husband. She said the whole thing about Eddie looking at booty models. She was saying that Chris was trying to do God knows what. Like, girl, bye. So Andy asks why she's so secretive and asks, you know, why do you ask for other people to be so open if you're not open yourself?
You know, you're on a reality show. It seems like there's a lot that you don't want to talk about, yet you seem to have an expectation of everybody else.
And, you know, like you say, her actions are hypocritical, and all the girls agree. And even Mia was like, yeah, is this cancer or no cancer? Like, everybody sees it, but nobody holds her to task. And my whole thing is, after all the stuff Gisele did, the girls have not got it through their head yet. Gisele always escapes these situations. The only time she really come at it is during the reunion, but Giselle's never going to crumble. She's going to be very stoic, and the girls praise her like, yeah, she's stoic, baby. She's stoic, and okay, I guess that's a skill, but I'm just like, y'all never press her during the season, ever. So, I mean, what's the point? And then we have the sideline conversation about Gisele dating some boy from Winter House. They have a 16-year age difference, which, I mean, my mom has a 17-year age difference with her husband, so, I mean, whatever. And then they talk about how they did reunion prep last night. Candace is like, ew. Then we on Wendy's segment and how she wanted a lounge and also her health concerns with her kidney stones. We learned from Wendy that, you know, Candace and Ashley basically talked her out of trying to go into the restaurant business. You know, Ashley had her restaurant in I want to say downtown DC or in like near DC called Oz. I went there one time. It was really good. And I thought it was a smart idea, especially if you really don't know what you want to get yourself into or have good investors. Peter was not a good investor, so yeah. We get on how Mia thought Wendy was talking about G and the whole drink throw, and she starts it with, well, you know.
So the way that I remember it, Andy,
you're lying. So it's not how I remember it. It's like, girl, it's either you remember or you don't. Like, it's facts or not. Like, what are we talking about? Like, you talking about how I remember it? Like, girl, bye. We already know she's lying. But she basically says, like, you know, I was trying to talk about a conversation and she just kept going and she kept on just talking. So basically you're saying that you couldn't handle what Wendy was saying and you couldn't match the speed and, you know, the intellectual joust that she was having with you. So you decided to throw a drink because you just got frustrated.
Like, she just kept, like, just coming at and just spitting things out that had absolutely nothing to do with what I was trying to talk about. But that's not true.
Okay. So, you know, Mia went to Peter about the whole situation. They're like, well, you know, why did you go to Peter and talk about the situation? She went to Peter just to be messy and to be in someone else's business but her own, and she wanted camera time, and I just felt like she should just sat down and just mind her business. Do I feel like Peter started it? Yes, because Peter said, yeah, you know, tell Wendy I got beef with her.
Beef?
Child. So she's trying to say that, you know, Wendy was talking about threesomes and stuff, so that's why I threw the drink.
She wanted to talk about threesomes. It's like,
No, you took it to a whole nother level when you threw the drink, and then she responded.
No, ma'am. She started going off on you verbally. She started verbally tearing you up after you threw that drink. Before she threw that drink, she was asking you, why would I have beef with a man? That's not
Kidding me that you were sitting here almost a year later and you cannot take ownership of what you did. You assaulted me.
Wendy tells her that, you know, Mia's trying to rewrite history, and Wendy tells her that, you know, her throwing the drink was just effed up and she needs to take some accountability. And why then when Wendy's telling her that, Mia's like, okay, so is that why you over here gave Peter the cookie?
All right, well, do you want to talk about that? I want you to understand the real story why you're up. You want to talk about that? Peter the cookie?
Girl, what, like, this just goes to show, it's just like, what have we not learned? Like, we're over here talking about people lying, people making up stuff, like, girl, and she's talking about, well, you know, I got the receipts, and if you need them, I got the receipts.
You were
from a receipt of you Peter the cookie.
I want you to understand.
So you can get a little restaurant and bar.
Okay, if you got the receipt, pull them out. I don't care. You talk about you have the receipts. Show me the receipts. Don't sit here and say I have some receipts. Show me. Because if you don't show me, it makes your whole argument invalid. It makes you just look like a liar. And you know, Candace and Wendy call BS on it, and you know, Wendy says, you know, you're over here effing for lobsters. So girl, bye.
You're for lobsters.
Yeah.
And Mia's like, I am like an idiot. And Robin gets called out because Andy is like, he's like, Robin, you're calling Wendy antagonistic. And it's funny because, you know, Robin, you are the most bout it and antagonistic on the show.
How is she the antagonist in that?
So say that, see what happens. Go on my face, I choke you out with this umbrella.
No, I actually agree with Robin when she talks about, you know, that, you know, everybody does have the right to retaliate in, you know, whatever form or fashion that they want.
And everybody in this world has the right to retaliate however they want to.
And I agree with that. I feel like anybody has the right to do what they want to do if they feel violated. Cool, but everybody also has the right to remain silent in that motherfucking jail.
Boom!
So, I mean, yeah, you could overhear somebody do something to you and you overhear bop, 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 bop. But best believe, there's some people that's going to call
911.
So, I mean, it is what it is. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, if somebody do something to me, I know how I'm going to handle it. And it's probably going to be the same way that Robin going to handle it. But that's just how I was raised. It is what it is. Not saying it's right, not saying it's wrong. Robin said that she didn't want to see Wendy fight on TV, and I'm just like, okay, so now Robin, you over here, you know, I'm looking out for Wendy. I don't want to see you fighting your teacher.
I really did not want to see her fighting on television.
Then why the fight or shut up?
Or you don't want to see fight on TV. Now you so helpful. And then Karen said, okay, so why you tell her to fight or shut up? And I get Robin's explanation, but you know, Mia started the whole wine situation. Then you're telling that Wendy's antagonizing when Mia started it. So Mia started the whole situation. So how now you gonna try to tell Wendy that she needs to stop, or she gonna get punched in the face?
Pops you in the mouth because you keep doing this. You want fire ass, and the cameras go away.
Mia started the whole situation. Doesn't matter if she was over here. We already know that Wendy wasn't saying nothing crazy, but afterwards, yeah, Wendy was over here going ham. Y'all like, oh, you need to stop before she over here hit you. No, because she over here thought she got violated. She got assaulted with a drink. So, yeah, Wendy can say whatever she want to say. She didn't put hands on her. She could have, but she didn't. It just shows the type of woman she is because, baby, it couldn't have been me. And that's why I'm telling Wendy, like, you know, Wendy, Mia's still saying the same thing. She's not apologetic. And at this point, Wendy, get your lick back.
You gotta get your lick back. No, you gotta get your lick back. My opinion, get your lick back. Get your lick back.
At this point, get your lick back. Get your lick back. at this point, I'm over it. Wendy tells Robin, like, you know, you questioned me, and I was the one that was assaulted.
I had just been physically assaulted, not once, but twice. But you look at me and you say, you're being antagonistic.
Like, why did you do that? And Robin's like, you know, it wasn't okay, and I see that's not okay, but we weren't cool, so I'm not gonna have your back.
I'm still not justifying what she did, but I understood her frustration. Well, it sounded secondly, you and I were not friends.
And that's just goes to the morals part of it. And like I said, there's two parts with it. On the flip, the first part is that morally it's wrong because right is right and wrong is wrong. But on the flip side, if I'm not cool with you, I'm not about to help you out. I'm not about to do anything. If it was me, and let's say I had beef with Wendy or I had beef with Mia, and they was over here moving tables, tearing up furniture, upside each other's head, I'm not getting up. Especially I don't like neither one of them. I'm sitting there just like Ashley and Karen. I got out the way and just observing. If I'm not cool with you, but Robin, you inserted yourself in a situation that had nothing to do with you, recording the loudest one, telling people to fight or shut up, but you want to sit up here and act like you weren't the antagonizer, which we're going to get to that part because Robin brings up Karen.
But instead, she tried to excuse herself from the situation. Speak for me. Why are you dragging me into your bullshit? Look, your ass tasted you were the aggressor at the table.
With her pulling her phone out, it's just like everybody's saying, like, Robin, you're putting gas on a fire.
Throwing gas on the fire. I think it's throwing gas on the fire.
I did not make the situation.
You know, it was already going. You putting gas on the fire. And she's just like, you know, because Andy was like, you know, Robin, somebody threw a drink on you. We already know how you gonna handle it.
Stupid.
So he basically tells Robin about being held back, and she's like, well, you know, I didn't need to be held back, but it's just like he said, like, if you walked across the stage right now, he said, I would jump up to hold you back because we don't know what would happen, and it is a act of aggression. Shout out to Andy calling out Ashley about being a flip-flop.
Ashley, you flip-flopped your stance on violence this season, and you defended her to the court.
On the whole violence situation, because when it pertained to Monique and Candace, Ashley, you ran your ass down to the courthouse assassinating people's character. But now it's over here, oh, well, you know, nobody was over here having Wendy's back, so I wanted to support Wendy because nobody had her back.
Wendy's defense, no one checked to make sure that she was okay when she was the person who had been violated. And no one was holding Mia's feet to the fire for her actions.
And nobody was over here holding Mia accountable. But it's like Candace and Karen was having Wendy's back. And Ashley, you say that none of the ladies held me accountable, but neither did you. Only thing you did was invite Wendy to the dinner. You didn't hold me accountable either. And he calls Gisele a hypocrite because
and she was.
Because she was saying that, you know, Candace got beat up. That's why I held Monique to the fire, because Candace got beat up. But Wendy, it was just a simple drink toss. Either way, I mean, and especially the states, Maryland, North Carolina, somebody physically putting hands on you, somebody throwing a drink, it's still assault. You can still go to jail. I've seen it happen plenty of times. I went to college at a party school, seen it happen plenty of times. Over here, clink, clink, in jail. Not me, because I'm smart. And people don't realize, like, and she's saying, like, oh, you know, it was more violent with the whole beat up, but it's like her throwing a drink, just assume how that can just spiral into a fucking ass whooping. Right? So Gisele says, you know, at the end of the day, the reason why I don't really care is because I don't like her. So I'm not gonna hold her. You know, it is what it is. And like I said before, all that is irrelevant because, like I said, she brought up Monique and she made Monique feel so bad, and she was over here saying, oh, you are below the status quo, you are a hoodlum, you are ghetto. And when it came to Mia, everything was cool. And like 2 seasons ago, you were calling out, you were about to over here call the NAACP to get Monique's black card revoked, right? So I'm just trying to figure out, like, what was the difference between Mia and Monique? Yes, one was more violent than the other, but both actions were violent. Now, like I said before, I'm not saying that I'm not gonna knuck and buck if somebody throws something at me. Like, ask my friends. It is what it is. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but people handle situations how they handle it. And in this atmosphere of housewife land, violence is never the answer. And that's just what it comes down to. Wendy gets emotional and she tells the girl, like, tell the girls that the situation was uncalled for and it was just classless and it should never happen. Wendy said that you violate me to my core and I don't F with you. But to Gisele's point, I mean, you saying all this, like, you violated me to my core. You saying all that, but you did let her over here look at yo coulda cat. And, y'all was doing the whole rubbing the bean in Mexico, allegedly. But we just gonna blame it on the alcohol, like Jamie Foxx? I guess. So, we talk about colorism. And this is a very important topic because it's something that, we all have experienced, either witnessed or seen or experienced like firsthand. I feel like how they handled it was really good. A lot of people are saying, oh, they handled it too light and this was very HR, but this is how the women wanted it to be handled. And I feel like I'm happy that they left it up to them. To be honest, I feel like half the conversation is for the ladies sitting on the stage and the other half is for the audience watching, because the audience play a big part. A lot of people I feel a lot of people project what they feel on a lot of these women. And to be honest, it is a TV show. Like I say a lot of this shit in jest and it's just funny, but it's just like the way that they come at Candace and Wendy on, it's kind of nasty. We all see that Wendy and Candace get a lot of unjust hate, and on the show we hear about the whole drink toss. We see how people basically drag Candace for all the stuff that she go through, for having a mouth. And it's funny because when they were in Miami before the show aired, we heard about the whole drink toss, and we all, I ain't gonna say we, but y'all thought it was Candace, and y'all over here went off on Candace, going crazy over here, tearing up Candace because she said, oh, that's why you throw a drink, this, that, and the third. But it wasn't even Candace. It was Mia and Wendy. So it's like y'all automatically jump on the whole bandwagon against Wendy. And I'm happy that, people supported Wendy during the situation against Mia. But, it took a long time to get here, right? I feel like Candace explained the definition of colorism. Candace also held herself accountable, saying that, I can be aggressive. I yell, I cry, I'm sensitive, and all these things. And she was like, but so is Robin. Robin is very aggressive. Robin is this, that, and the third. But I feel like this season in particular, that argument can't be used for this season. Before, yes, it can be used. But people have been coming at Robin's neck, calling her aggressive, calling her all types of things. And to be honest, I mean, we've been seeing this from seasons up into it. I always felt like, I never thought that any of the girls on the show was aggressive. I just like, that's just how you feel. I never try to use those words. But, I feel like Robin was always bad about it. I'm like, I always said this in my reviews, that Robin will beat your ass. If there's any girl you don't want to mess with on this show, it's Robin. Have you seen them arms? Robin works out. And if she don't, she just got good genes. Karen spoke a lot of wisdom about, colorism, about the whole situation that happens.
Phil, the lighter woman, was in the house Negro. I can tell you, it takes a conscious effort to change that which has been.
We all have seen someone or have experienced colorism firsthand, and we all have some type of unconscious and conscious bias that we all go through within our everyday life, right? And I've experienced situations myself. Like in high school, I played sports all through high school, and I had a darker tan during the times I was outside playing like football or soccer. And we were in Massapona's high school. We were in Miss Wagner's Spanish 1 class, and they would turn the lights off, and they'd be like, oh, where did Brian and Isis go? And just over here, just really coming for us. And like, even I didn't say parents, but my dad even made me feel horrible for having darker skin. And he was just like, I'm PK and tan, but Brian is dark. And for him to marry a Spanish woman and for her kids to be lighter, it made me feel like
fucking shit.
And I never told him about it because I really don't talk to my dad like that right now. But it does something to your self-worth, and it does something to you feeling a little bit of internal hate about yourself. And I had to grow past that, and I I had to really find love for myself. So that's something that I feel like a lot of people don't understand. And I feel like there's a difference between being bullied for, because I know a lot of people talk about, well, you know, I was light skinned, I got bullied all the time for me being light skinned. But it's like, there's still some type of, like Ashley said, like she does have a privilege for being a lighter skinned woman.
We get preferential treatment or whatever. I understand that. I acknowledge the privilege. You know what I'm saying? As a light skinned woman,
that's just a fact. And we all want to talk about, oh no, that's not true, but it is true. It's true. And you see it's history with this situation, because there's people in Africa, in the United States, bleaching their skin to be lighter, right? So we know there's all throughout. And we have examples from the African American community. We have examples with the Asian community. We have examples from the Hutus versus the Tutsis. Like, we're not about to sit up here and act like that wasn't something. In the prime example, slavery, where light skins were inside and dark skins was outside. Like, that's just facts. So I'm happy that, you know, Ashley, you know, even though she asked, how do we know that Candace was treated away? Like, I mean, we don't know.
We know that Candace is treated a certain way, but here's the key. You listen to Candace. She says she's feeling that she's treated a certain way. That's the first step.
And like I said before, a prime example is the fact that people give Ashley a pass, but Ashley is the villain of the show, and she has a more reckless mouth than Candace. So, like, you know what I'm saying? I feel like people just skate over that whole situation. And, you know, I'm happy. Do I feel like Ashley's colorist? No. Do I feel like anybody on the show is colorist? I feel like there's behaviors that are very much colorist, right? And like we all see that they're calling Candace is a disaster on Twitter. Candace has a reckless mouth, but nobody goes off on Ashley. I do, but I'm just saying, on the show. I'm happy that Ashley acknowledged her privilege, and Candace get emotional.
A lot of the stigma, just to have you say, I acknowledge it, my privilege. Yeah, that's really all I did.
15-year friendship is over and done. 30 years down the drain, y'all. I feel like the whole situation with Jacqueline and Mia is, I feel like Mia was jealous of the fact that Jacqueline came onto the show. She was getting a lot of camera time. The producers were asking her to go on the trips, and she probably felt like she's coming for my spot. She's coming for my thunder. This is my thing. And now Jacqueline's over here. And they go back and forth on how, you know, Jacqueline's family is not cool with Mia, and they just set this whole situation up for part 3, and I'm excited to see what's going to happen. But thank you for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Whose side are you on, and do you think Jacqueline is really going to pull them receipts out on Mia? I'm excited to see what's going to happen. See you guys later. Peace.